She opened the wrong door, and regretted it. Door fearful face. It was past midnight when Nadia Qureshi stepped out of the Uber and pulled her coat tighter around herself. New York's November wind was merciless, cutting through the narrow streets of Queens like blades of ice. Her phone buzzed with a message from her mother back in Lahore. "Beta, have you eaten?" She smiled faintly, typing back a quick yes. "Am I? I'm home." But she wasn't home yet. Nadia was 27, a Pakistani immigrant, juggling 2 part-time jobs while chasing her dream of becoming a nurse. She lived in a cramped apartment complex with a flickering hallway light and peeling wallpaper. The kind of place where neighbors barely spoke, where people's eyes stayed down, each carrying their own battles in silence. That night, she was bone-tired after her shift at the diner. Her feet ached, her back screamed, and all she wanted was the warmth of her bed. She climbed the narrow staircase, humming softly to keep herself awake, her keys jingling in her pocket. On the 3rd floor, the hallway stretched like an endless tunnel. Dim quiet. A baby cried faintly behind one door, another TV hummed low behind another. She stopped at what she thought was her apartment 3B, slid the key in, and pushed. The door creaked open with unsettling ease. Inside, the lights were off, but the smell hit her first, a sharp, metallic tang of iron, like rust or blood. Her stomach clenched. "Samira," she whispered, calling out for her roommate. But no reply came. She stepped inside. Her phone flashlight flickered across the floor, then froze. A trail of dark stains led across the cheap linoleum. Stains that hadn't been there in her own apartment. Her breath hitched. She turned to leave, but a sound, faint but deliberate, came from the bedroom down the hall. A shuffle. A drag. Someone was inside. Her hands shook as she backed away, but before she could reach the door, it slammed shut behind her. And in that moment, Nadia realized this wasn't her apartment. She had opened the wrong door. The air grew heavy, suffocating. She could hear her own heartbeat hammering in her ears. Slowly, a figure emerged from the dark bedroom. A man, tall, gaunt, his white undershirt soaked in sweat and something darker. He held a kitchen knife, his knuckles pale around the handle. For a second, they stared at each other, frozen. He wasn't just surprised, he was terrified. "What are you doing here?" his voice cracked, low and unsteady. I'm sorry," Nadia stammered, words tumbling out. "I live in 3B, I thought this was." "Shut up," he hissed, stepping closer. The knife glinted in her flashlight beam. Behind him, in the shadows of the bedroom, she glimpsed a figure slumped against the wall. A woman. Motionless. Nadia's blood ran cold. The man noticed her glance and snapped, "Don't look there." His voice trembled with desperation, not just anger. "You weren't supposed to see this." Her instincts screamed at her, "Run. Fight. Survive," but her body felt glued to the floor. Then, almost like fate, her phone buzzed again, her mother's name glowing on the screen. The vibration echoed unnaturally loud in the silence. The man's eyes darted to it, then back to her. "You call anyone, you're dead," he warned. His hand shook so violently she wondered if the knife would slip from his grip. Nadia swallowed hard, her mind racing. Should she scream? Should she lunge for the door? But she remembered the hallway, too quiet. Nobody would come fast enough. Instead, she forced her voice to steady. "Please. I didn't see anything. Let me go. I won't tell anyone." The man's face twisted, a storm of fear and regret. You think they'll believe me? You think anyone cares? His voice cracked like glass. She was leaving me, she was going to take everything. I didn't mean. He stopped, choking on his own words. His knife hand wavered. For a flicker of a second, Nadia saw not a monster but a broken man, drowning in his own choices. But that moment passed. And survival screamed louder than pity. She took her chance. With every ounce of strength, she swung her heavy purse straight into his arm. The knife clattered to the ground. He shouted in rage, lunging for her, but Nadia darted toward the door, clawing at the lock with trembling fingers. The door stuck, old wood swollen with humidity. He grabbed her shoulder, pulling her back, but adrenaline surged through her veins. She twisted, shoving her elbow into his chest, and finally yanked the door open. The hallway air hit her face like salvation. She ran. Barefoot, heart exploding, she screamed down the corridor, "Help! Somebody help!" Doors cracked open. Faces peeked out. A woman screamed. Someone shouted they were calling the police. Behind her, the man stood in the doorway of his apartment, chest heaving, eyes hollow, before retreating back into the darkness. The police arrived minutes later. Too late for the woman inside, she was gone. Too late for the man too, he had locked himself in the bathroom and ended his own life before they could break in. Nadia gave her statement in shivering fragments, her coat wrapped tight around her. Officers nodded, taking notes, their eyes hard with routine. To them, it was another case in a city full of tragedies. But to Nadia, it was something else. She would never forget the weight of that wrong door, the way one misstep had dropped her into the heart of someone else's nightmare. She would never forget his eyes, wild, broken, human. Weeks later, back at her apartment, she still jolted awake at night, the echo of that slammed door chasing her in dreams. She couldn't walk the hallway without glancing twice at every door, her hand hesitating on the knob. Her mother called every night now. Nadia never told her the full truth, just that life in America was hard, and sometimes dangerous. But in the quiet moments, when she replayed it all, she realized something that unsettled her most of all: that man, the one who terrified her, wasn't a stranger in every sense. He was a story she had seen before. A story of struggle, of breaking under pressure, of losing hope in a country that demanded too much. And she knew by a cruel twist of fate it could have been anyone. Even her.